Okay, everyone, I'm really, really excited today because I am joined by Georgia King. You know her from Wild Child, The New Normal, Vice Principals, and most recently, Royalties. And now she is in a new film, Parallel, that comes out today. And she plays the character of Leena. Georgia, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing so well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. So, I watched this film a couple days ago. I was really excited to talk to you about it. And what's interesting to me is that you are someone I'm so used to always being in comedies, and I really enjoy your comedic performances. And I was excited to watch this because when I saw you were in it, it was more of a serious role. Can you kind of get me into like the pros and cons, if you can compare, of like doing a serious role compared to where you're mostly usually doing comedy roles?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to start off with, I actually never anticipated I would be doing a lot of comedy. I didn't realize that's where I would land and that would be my very, very happy place. And
Right.
so when I first started acting, I actually ended up doing like, I was in England, so I did a series of period dramas, of course. I put on a lot of bonnets and it was amazing. I loved it. And so I actually came from a more dramatic sort of start. And then I auditioned for the movie you just mentioned, Wild Child, and I got it. And it was the lead villain, I suppose. And also my first comedy. And that's when I really got hooked to acting. That's when I was like, oh, I need to do this for as long as I possibly can because I'd started acting in my gap year before, and I was going to go to university. I wanted to be a director. I still do, and I'm sort of starting to make my moves into directing now, finally. But yeah, so acting was this incredible kind of unexpected gift, and that I got, and then I was having such a great time, but then I got like really addicted with comedy. That being said, I think what I love so much about comedy is the fact that it's about the sort of awfulness and awkwardness and realness and messiness of being a human being. My favorite comedy comes from the very sort of real and truthful part of being a human being. So like during the pandemic, I've been blasting my way through the Larry Sanders Show,
Oh, I love
um,
that.
which I think is a masterpiece. Yeah, I'd never seen it, and I'm like, oh, this is groundbreaking, and was made before, like when I was a child, I think, and it's so ahead of its time. And what's so special about it is it's all rooted in reality. It comes from a place of truth, and it's about real people and real situations, and it has something real to say. So, like I said, I'm definitely like my happiest when I'm doing comedy, because it comes from hopefully something real, and truthful. It's a kind of an easy step into the more dramatic roles. And if anything, I hope to bring a little light and humor into those roles if it's required, which I
Yeah,
felt like it was with this character, Lena, a little bit.
absolutely. You definitely do a great blend of that and bringing a lot of comic relief into it as well. And I wonder with you, Georgia, when you look at scripts, what exactly you kind of hinting towards it about looking for something that speaks to you or is more real. What in scripts attracts you to
Mm.
want to do the role? What was it is particular in this that was like, okay, I want to be in this film?
Oh, that's actually quite an easy answer for this one because I think I'm fascinated by what we're hiding and what we're trying to show the world. It's like
Hmm.
this really interesting thing that people do. We all want to like, appear our best selves, and we try and hide our insecurities and our sort of self-doubts. And I think Lena does that a lot in this movie. She's desperate to be seen, to be valued, to feel valuable and worth something. And she's deeply insecure. And so this incredible adventure starts off with an opportunity to find that sort of sense of self-worth, and then it unravels from there. So I found the sort of multifaceted like layers of all the characters in this film really interesting. And I just wanted to know what was going to happen next.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
you kind of, yeah, you know them, you see them, you relate to them. They're underdogs, they're entrepreneurs who are like really struggling, and then they get this like kind of golden ticket moment, and it's like, I felt when I was doing it, I was like, oh my god, what would I do with that? How would I react in that situation myself? And I always find that really fun when it's that immersive.
Well, that's really funny you say that, because one of the questions I have here I really wanted to ask you is if Georgia was given the chance in front of a magic mirror, would you go through it? Would you try it? And what if you did? What do you expect parallel universe Georgia would be doing if you saw her?
Oh my gosh. So it's so funny. I actually had a conversation with Mark O'Brien, who's also in the movie, and he was like, I would not go through the mirror. No, I have everything I want here. And I was like, I have everything I want here too, but I do find it would be so curious. I'd be so curious just to have a little step in there. And I think I would, quite honestly, I would probably, without doing any spoilers, but like, you know, we find this mirror in a space in a house, and when you step through into parallel universes, you're still in that same room in parallel universes. I would probably hunker down and just, I never feel like I have enough time to do all the things I want to do every day. Like, I'm so excited to do so much. I want to like learn the piano, read all these books, like, you know, learn how to cook this thing and do that thing. And there's so many things that I want to do in life that I would honestly take the time by stepping into parallel universes and like buy myself some time to do all these cool things. Honestly, might be boring, but I just want to like, I'd use it to my advantage, but not step out of that attic room.
No, that's a great answer. It's just a smart answer. I love it. And it's funny too, because like, again, too, Georgia, without like spoiling anything, but a character in this film says to your character at some point, because you see a lot of crazy things happen, because clearly it's a multiverse film.
Right.
Someone says to you, I've confessed love to 10 different versions of you. I love this line, but I was wondering, if someone said that to you in real life, Georgia, would that be attractive to you, or would that be a complete turnoff?
You know, it's funny. This year, I feel like I've really learned the power of the word "and." You know, like something can be like absolutely like and skin-crawlingly creepy and kind of flattering at the same time. So like maybe both.
No, I dig that, and it's interesting too, because you talk about comedy, and I love on your Instagram how much humor you show as a person, and it's really interesting because what blows me away, honestly, is that it's like, I love your relationship with your dog Rita, because I also have a dog I'm very close with, and I was scrolling through even today, and I was just like, oh my God, like you have multiple fans that have made art of you and your dog. That's how much it's actually like affecting people. So I'm wondering, will we ever get maybe like a show with your daily like doings with your dog, or like behind the scene of Georgia King?
Oh my gosh, can I steal that idea from another parallel universe?
Yeah, you can. We can act like this didn't happen.
Yeah, if I thought that would be in any way interesting to anyone else but myself, I would do that in a heartbeat. First of all, the fan art of myself and my dog is it honestly makes me so happy. Like I like beam smiling. Like I think it's the coolest thing. It's so wonderful that people take the time to do that. And I do find, you know, you write what you know, and as I mentioned earlier, like I set out wanting to be a director, and then I started sort of sidestepping into that. So I've written a couple things and I directed a couple things, and I'm actually lined up I was meant to do a music video. I was meant to be directing a music video today. But we had to push the shoot for obvious reasons and stuff, you know, health and safety. But I have a feature next year that I'm directing, and I end up writing a lot of probably too many Rita references. So there's a golden doodle. There's a lot about a golden doodle in a short film I made back in 2013 called Your Hands, with Lamorne Morris and Nicholas Braun, who's, you know, amazing. They're both amazing. Michael Hitchcock, who's just like a comedy hero of mine. And yeah, I talk about how I want to get a golden doodle.
Oh, I love that.
And then I went and got one.
No, that's amazing. And like,
so she makes her way into my life.
No, and that's smart that like with your writing, because I love that you direct and write as well. And you even mentioned how much like you put even in your Insta bio acting and writing, and how much it just shows it means to you. And I wonder, with your talking about just writing and directing this feature and this music video, how challenging is it during quarantine to like keep your chops up with acting, writing, directing? Like, is it affecting you in a way? Like, how can you just kind of give me an insight into that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I had stopped filming something in New York. It was like right when Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson said, you know, announced that they had COVID. I felt like that's like that day, I think, or like an hour later, I felt like we had our stay-at-home orders in LA.
Right.
So I really like marry those two things together. Like I remember everyone going to Gelson's and Trader Joe's and Ralph's and everything, buying all the bananas they could, and toilet paper. And then, so I had to stop filming, but, it's funny. It's that and again, it's like, it's been a really challenging year for everyone. And I definitely, I'm longing to get back on set, and I know that some productions are starting up again. So like from an acting point of view, yeah, I miss, like, I would do like a monthly show at UCB. And, I definitely miss that like collaboration and on-set energy. And I also feel really lucky that I, have a lovely home, and I get to spend this time working at my writing and getting hopefully a lot better. And I've been actually writing something with Mark O'Brien. Oh my gosh, by the way, on a side note, I'm so excited for Engel directing a movie right this second in London. I'm just so impressed and in awe. But yeah, I feel like, I feel lucky that I get to also sort of like start pursuing other things. Always wanted to do voiceover work, and I started on my first voiceover job. And I mean, I know everyone is jumping on the podcast wagon, but I have a podcast that I'm going to be putting out into ether early next year. And so I've actually felt like, I've taken the opportunity to work at certain things that I can do from home, and feel very lucky that I can do that.
No, that's really exciting. And that's exciting to hear that you're doing a podcast too. I can't wait to check it out myself. Georgia, before I let you go, I have one last question. It's the people's question, because everyone's talking about after they saw this movie and just wondering, and you don't even have to answer this, but there is a tree tattoo that appears on your back, if I'm seeing correctly, and I'm just wondering, did they put that on you during the movie? Because I'm looking for symbolism here, or is that really a tattoo you have? And again, you don't have to reveal this mystery, but if you can, the people would love it.
I will reveal it gladly. I'm too much of a wuss to have gotten a tattoo. That is 100% fake.
Okay.
I'm really glad you asked, though, because it does actually lead me into saying that Isaac Esban, the director, is one of the absolute best parts of this project for me. The director is the definition of enthusiasm and energy, and just a shining, beautiful person, and had such a strong vision from the start. Like, I actually watched one of his movies, The Incident, and was like, oh, I want to do this film. I want to work with this director. He has a point of view. He has something to say. And him, like, this very, very unique, strong voice, like him with, taking this script. I'm so excited to see what he does with it. And so he had this vision of a tree and a tree painting. He had all these like spiraling the camera movements that he had in his mind and his imagination was so vivid.
Wow.
The tree idea was, there from the get-go.
I love that. That just shows you the attention to detail. Then I could sing Isaac's
praises, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm glad you picked up on it.
No, I'm looking for it all, and that one stumped me, but now I'm excited that my intuition was correct, that it meant something. So, Georgia, thank you so much for joining me today. Everyone, if you're a fan of Georgia King, what are you doing? You got to see this movie Parallel. It's in theaters now, and it's also on demand. And you can also check out my interview with Mark O'Brien talking about this film as well. That will be linked below. And like Georgia said, she's coming out with a podcast. She's directing. She's writing. She's doing so many things. And if you haven't seen her in Vice Principals or Royalties, please check that out as well. Georgia, it was so nice talking to you, and I hope to talk to you again someday soon.
Oh, that was a blast. Thank you so much for having me.